The fluorescent lights of Hemlock High hum above me, casting a sickly yellow glow on the crowded hallway. 30 years old, yet I'm here, a transfer student in disguise. It's the only way. My mission: infiltrate, observe, and eliminate. Eliminate all the vampires. They think they're so clever, blending in, feeding off the unsuspecting youth of this town. But I know their secret. The air is thick with the cloying sweetness of synthetic perfume and something else. Something metallic, almost coppery. It's faint, masked by the other scents, but my senses are honed. It's the scent of blood, subtly laced with the dark magic they use to mask their true nature. I clutch my worn leather satchel, its contents far more dangerous than textbooks. A stake fashioned from white ash rests against a vial of holy water, blessed by a priest who understood the gravity of my calling. A girl bumps into me, sending a jolt through my arm. "Oh, sorry," she chirps, her eyes an unnerving shade of crimson. "Didn't see you there." "No problem," I reply, forcing a smile. Her name tag reads, Seraphina Blake. Seraphina. Even their names are steeped in irony. "You're new, right?" she asks, tilting her head. Her long, black hair cascades over her shoulder, framing a face that could launch 1,000 ships, or drain them of their blood. "Yeah, just transferred," I say, keeping my voice even. "Name's Michael." "Welcome to Hemlock High, Michael," she says, her smile widening. "Too wide. I'm sure you'll fit right in." She glances at my neck, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Hunger, curiosity. The bell rings, a jarring clang that reverberates through the hallway. Students surge forward, a tide of youthful energy that feels predatory in this place. "Gotta run," Seraphina says, winking. "See you around, Michael." She disappears into the crowd, leaving me standing alone in the bustling hallway. My hand instinctively goes to the crucifix I wear beneath my shirt. This is it. I'm in the heart of the nest. Now the real work begins. First, I need to find out who's in charge, who's pulling the strings. Because in every vampire settlement, there's always an elder, someone ancient and powerful, orchestrating the whole charade. And then I'll end it. I take a deep breath and follow the flow of students, trying to appear nonchalant. My schedule leads me to the main office. The secretary, a woman with tired eyes and a name tag that reads Ms. Davison, barely glances up as I approach. "Can I help you?" she asks, her voice flat. "I'm Michael, the new transfer student. I need to find out which class I have first." "Michael," she taps away at her keyboard. "Ah, yes, here's your schedule." She hands me a slip of paper. My first class is history with a Mr. Blackwood. I raise an eyebrow. Blackwood, another name dripping with Gothic undertones. I thank her and head towards the classroom, my senses on high alert. The classroom is dimly lit, the blinds drawn despite the bright afternoon sun. Rows of desks face a chalkboard covered in dates and names I don't recognize. Mr. Blackwood stands at the front, a tall, gaunt man with piercing eyes that seem to see right through me. He's dressed in a tweed suit that looks like it belongs in a museum, and there's an unsettling stillness about him. "You must be Mr. Michael," he says, his voice a low rumble that sends a shiver down my spine. "Welcome to my class. Please, take a seat." He gestures to an empty desk in the back corner. As I walk towards it, I notice the other students. They're pale, unnaturally so, and their eyes gleam with an unnatural light. Seraphina sits in the front row, a smirk playing on her lips. I take my seat, feeling like a lamb led to the slaughter. Blackwood begins his lecture, droning on about some obscure historical event. But I'm not listening. I'm watching, observing, analyzing. I notice how the sunlight that manages to seep through the blinds seems to avoid them, how they don't seem to blink, how the room temperature is several degrees colder than the hallway. Everything confirms my suspicions. This isn't just a school. It's a feeding ground. And Mr. Blackwood? He's not just a teacher. He's one of them, maybe even the one in charge. As the class progresses, I feel a growing sense of unease. I can feel their eyes on me, assessing me, wondering if I'm a threat. When the bell finally rings, signaling the end of class, I practically bolt from my seat. But as I reach the door, Blackwood stops me. "Mr. Michael," he says, his voice dangerously soft. "A word, if you please." My hand instinctively goes to the stake in my satchel. This could be it. This could be the moment I have to reveal my true self. The hunt has begun. I turn to face Blackwood, trying to appear calm despite the adrenaline surging through my veins. "Yes, Mr. Blackwood?" I ask, my voice steady. He circles me slowly, like a predator sizing up its prey. His eyes glint in the dim light. "You seem different, Mr. Michael," he says, his voice low and menacing. "Out of place, perhaps?" I force a chuckle. "Just new, sir. Still trying to get my bearings." He stops in front of me, his face inches from mine. I can smell him now, a faint, musty odor mixed with the metallic tang of blood. "I have a feeling there's more to you than meets the eye," he whispers, his breath cold on my face. "Tell me, Mr. Michael, what brings you to Hemlock High?" I hold his gaze, refusing to back down. "A fresh start," I say, my voice firm. "That's all." He studies me for a long moment, his eyes searching for any sign of deception. Then, a slow smile spreads across his face. "Very well, Mr. Michael," he says, "but I suggest you remember one thing. Here at Hemlock High, we value loyalty, and those who betray our trust tend to disappear." He steps aside, allowing me to pass. I walk out of the classroom, my heart pounding in my chest. That was a warning. He knows something, or suspects something. I need to be careful. Back in the hallway, I try to blend in with the other students, but I can feel their eyes on me. They know I was talking to Blackwood. They're watching, waiting. I decide to head to the library, hoping to find some information about Hemlock High, about its history, about anything that might give me an edge. The library is surprisingly empty. A young woman with glasses sits behind the front desk, engrossed in a book. I walk over to the history section and begin browsing the shelves. I pull out a dusty volume on the history of Hemlock County and start flipping through the pages. The book is filled with tales of strange disappearances, unsolved mysteries, and whispers of dark magic. The more I read, the more convinced I become that Hemlock is not just a haven for vampires, but a place steeped in ancient evil. As I delve deeper into the book, I hear a soft cough behind me. I turn around to see the librarian standing there, her eyes filled with concern. "Are you finding what you need?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. "Just doing some research," I reply, holding up the book. She glances at the cover and her face pales. "Be careful what you read," she says, her voice trembling. "Some things are better left buried." And with that, she turns and walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. The library, once a sanctuary, now feels like another trap. Everyone here is hiding something, and I'm starting to realize that uncovering the truth may be more dangerous than I ever imagined. I watch the librarian disappear behind the shelves, her warning echoing in my mind. Some things are better left buried, but I can't leave them buried. Not when innocent lives are at stake. I continue to read, absorbing every detail I can find about Hemlock's dark history. The book speaks of a coven of witches who once controlled the town, of ancient rituals and blood sacrifices. Then, a passage catches my eye. A mention of a powerful artifact, a talisman said to grant its owner immortality and control over the darkness. It was supposedly hidden somewhere in Hemlock, lost to time. Could this be the source of the vampire's power? Could finding it be the key to stopping them? I decide to check out the book. As I approach the front desk, the librarian avoids my gaze. She quickly stamps the book and hands it to me, her fingers trembling. I thank her and leave the library, feeling more determined than ever. I need to find this talisman, but I can't do it alone. I need an ally, someone who knows the town, someone I can trust. But who? Everyone here seems to be either a vampire or under their influence, except for the librarian. There's something about her, a vulnerability, a sense of unease that makes me think she might be willing to help. I decide to find her after school and talk to her, tell her what I know, and see if I can convince her to join my cause. The rest of the day passes in a blur. I attend my classes, trying to act normal, but I can feel the vampire's eyes on me, watching, waiting. Serafina teases me with knowing glances, and Blackwood's presence looms over me like a shadow. As the final bell rings, I quickly gather my things and head towards the library. The librarian is still there, packing up her things. I approach her cautiously. "Excuse me," I say. "I wanted to ask you something." She looks up, startled. Her eyes are wide with fear. "What is it?" she asks, her voice barely audible. "I know about the vampires," I say, my voice low and serious. "I know what's really going on in this town." Her eyes widen even further. She glances around nervously. "You don't know what you're talking about," she whispers. "Yes, I do," I say. "And I need your help. I need to find the talisman." She hesitates, her mind clearly battling with itself. Then, she takes a deep breath and says, "Meet me tonight at the old cemetery after midnight, and come alone." With that, she grabs her bag and hurries out of the library, leaving me standing there in stunned silence. The old cemetery. That's where we'll meet. That's where I'll either find an ally or walk into a trap. But either way, I'm ready. The hunt continues, and I won't back down until every last vampire is eliminated.